You're listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Mike Luke, joined by the tired Jason Shear. Shear, it is raining where I am right now. There is a thunderstorm. I have had missionaries knock on my door this morning. What are you up to at this point, my friend?
It's a little cloudy outside. I mean, I only live like 20 minutes away from you. I'm playing it safe. I got these on.
I'm sending everything in your direction right there, my friend. All right.
You have the downed power line that you asked me about at 6 o'clock in the morning?
I am a very early riser. I actually put that on Twitter and somebody said, no, dude, it's a low voltage line. It's nothing big or whatever. So anyways, just trying to help out when I can. All right. We got a lot to get to today. We're going to talk a lot of Arizona basketball, some Arizona football. Obviously, we're going to talk about Johnny Nansen. We're going to get an apology again from Jason Shear to Dwayne Akina. Dwayne Akina has been asking for this apology, and he will get this apology right here. But many things. And Jedd Fisch. Jedd Fisch with the ultimate G move, as the kids would say out there. But first, Shear, generally the national media is behind when it comes to Arizona athletics. I think they're spot on when it comes to Arizona basketball this year. They're picking the Wildcats to win the conference, and 12 nationally feels about right. I don't have a vote in the matter. You do. What say you, my friend?
I don't have an AP vote.
What a loser.
I know. It's fine. I get it.
You don't like it.
I think I hate preseason polls. Like, my theory has always been, if you have a preseason poll, it should come out in there just shouldn't be preseason polls. Basically, there's a few teams that I don't think are better than Arizona. But right now I guess it's fine. Like Tennessee and Creighton and Gonzaga, I don't think are better than Arizona. But,
all right, now this is always why the Big Ten feasts and gets rated way higher than they should, because there will be I should actually know this, and I didn't put this in my show notes. How many Big Ten teams are in the top 25? Look right now, over or under 7.
I'm not looking. I just figured all of them, Mike.
Yeah, they're all. I think that's actually a fair point. But Tommy Lloyd, though, I think this is going to be his best team. We got an exhibition Friday, post-game show on tap right after that. I don't see a ton of weaknesses. Now, granted, a lot of this has to come together, but I am far more optimistic about this year's team than I was last year's team, and last year's team was a number 2 seed.
I'm counting them now. There's not that many, actually.
How many?
Michigan State, Purdue. Is that it?
No way. No.
Yeah, dude, that's it. Illinois, only 3.
All right. Well, that's still 3 too many. Well, maybe 1 too many. But
all right, what's your question?
Yeah, my question though, well, it wasn't really a question. I think this is going to be his best team. We've said that a few different times. It might take a little bit longer, but I do think that this will be a squad that by the end of the season is going to be his best team, and the team most prepared to make a march in March.
I think it's his most balanced team, because even when you go back and you look at the Ben team with Dalen and all that, Kirk Crease's injury hurt that team. Like Justin Kier wasn't the best, and Dalen Terry wasn't. I mean, he could run the point, but he wasn't a point guard. This year's team, when you take a look at it, if something were to happen to Kyle and Boswell, you still have Jaden Bradley and you're fine, right? Like there's more depth in that backcourt, and I think because of that and the depth overall, this is his best team.
Yeah, and there's really no player that you lose, like you said, and you can't recover from. Umar Ballo, leader of men. We don't want to lose Umar Ballo, obviously, but I think we've seen enough from Mount Krivas to be able to say that he is going to be, Arizona would be just fine. The one player that I do think that would really be a blow would be Keyshawn Johnson. That's the one guy that I think it would be impossible to replace.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Pella. I'm shocked you didn't say Pella. I'm very upset with you, but you're right. It's clearly Johnson because to me, he's very unique, right? Like Arizona has guards that are somewhat similar, Umar and Krivas. Umar's better, but Krivas is okay. There's no one as athletic as Johnson on the team at his position. He's going to be the best rebounder on the roster. He would be, the MVP, so to speak.
Are you all right? I'm going to ask you this. When we had Jack Murphy on, he raised some eyebrows right there. We are on to you, Murph. We know what you're about, always causing problems. Murph said that he believes that Keyshawn Johnson will be on an NBA roster next season.
I could see it.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked.
No, I don't think he will be. But I don't think he'll get drafted. He'd have to make it, off roster. I don't see him getting drafted. It wouldn't be the most shocking thing, but right now I don't think so.
I don't really see that one either, but I would love to be wrong on it. But I do think that he's going to be somebody that will be 14-8. I also think, and you can vote for the all-conference teams, though. This is correct.
Yeah, I voted him on the preseason team when he didn't make it. I was very upset.
That was a little bit of an oversight right there. By the way, Misner says Whiskey, Maryland, and Indiana are getting votes. Too many votes. Don't put any of them in there. We agree. All right. We're got comments coming in hot and heavy. Krivas is going to eat Mara's lunch. Mara's lunch sounds like an Italian restaurant, like down on 4th Avenue. It really does.
I can't wait for Umar to outplay Zach Edey. I'm going to crush you.
Here's what Shear got ahead of himself a little bit before. This was last year. He said, Umar Ballo is going to eat Zach Edey alive. And I said, I don't know about that. And then he said, I mean it literally. Shear, do you still think he plans on eating Zach Edey?
He's going to literally eat Zach Edey alive.
Right. All right. Now, Caleb Love. Obviously, he was on the all-conference team, not your guy, Caleb Love. But I think Caleb Love, I have come to the conclusion that this is what Caleb Love is going to do this year. Caleb Love's going to average 14 points, and he's going to shoot 44% from the field. And I think he's going to make you. Apologize.
44%. You're
44%.
not.
I just said it right now.
44%.
You agree?
I agree with the 14. I think the 14 is solid. I'm going 40%.
40%. Maybe
if Caleb Love averages 14 points on 44% shooting, so I don't know. All right.
You're warming to it. You're warming
over
to it.
Under 42.5. I'll take the under.
I just said, well, no, the over would be 40% because you just said 40.
40 is low. A lot of guys, it's hard to shoot 40 in Tommy's system. I think 44. I mean, 44 would be his career high by how many?
Probably by about 7 or 8 points, but who cares? Wow.
Has he ever shot? Let me look. I'm going to look right now. His highest.
Go ahead.
Dude, his highest was last year, 37%.
All right. But again, Hubert Davis, Tommy Lloyd, much better coach. You can have that. By the way, Brad Rich coming in hot and heavy. Chef Duarte, Back the A, part of the Back the A movement right here, a frontline performer. Brad Rich said, Shear did say this. This is true. You did say this, Shear. And, whoa, 40%. Shear likes Caleb Love now. Shear, you've been playing hard to get for a while, but it does seem like you're coming around. That's all.
I'm coming around a little bit, yes.
All right.
I'm open.
Now, Chef Duarte, very good point. Love with better numbers than Kerr. Come on.
Yes, well, yeah. I mean, Kerr didn't have really good numbers. Not assists, though. Kerr will have more assists.
All right, so do you believe that Jaden Bradley's coming off the bench?
Yes. Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting here because obviously I think Tommy wants to start Pella. Pella was not good as a starter, then turned into Larry Bird off the bench, though. I think we're going to know pretty early on if in the first 5 or 6 games, if Pella struggles, if he's really cut out for that role or not. We're going to get to Zoom Diallo here in a second, though. But Shear, go ahead.
You leave my guy alone. He is cut out for that role.
All right.
First round NBA lottery pick.
Noah Larson. All right. Jacob Franklin.
I'll say this. If Pella goes first, he's not going to. But if Pella goes first round, right? Would that be the biggest Tommy Lloyd draft dub ever?
By a mile.
Like,
If you put a player that shoots a set shot and can't dribble into the NBA and who's 6'4", that is a big testament to the Tommy gun right there. All right. Now, somebody that can dribble, and it's becoming interesting right here, Zoom Diallo. Now, 5-star point guard out of the Northwest region. I always thought that this was a long shot, but now the rumors are that Arizona is picking up steam. He's expected to be here this week. Arizona have a real chance with Zoom Diallo now, Sheer?
Yeah, I don't know what Zoom is doing because Zoom doesn't know what Zoom is doing. But if he's on campus this weekend, Arizona has a shot. That's just how recruiting works. If Arizona is bringing Zoom in on an official visit and indications are right now, he has indicated he's absolutely coming. Who knows? That could change, blah, 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 recruiting. But if he makes it to campus this weekend, Arizona absolutely has a shot to land him.
All of a sudden, if you get Zoom Diallo, does Arizona have the best recruiting class in the country then at that point? Or if not, it's right there because you'd have Jamari Phillips, underrated at the top 20. I think you guys dropped him, by the way. Did you not?
Like 2 or 3 spots, I think.
Unacceptable. But either way.
I think part of that is just because you guys are in.
True. Either way, I don't care. It doesn't matter. They move. Jamari Phillips does not move. Top 20, though, Carter Bryant, both those guys likely to be McDonald's All-Americans. Zoom Diallo, 5-star point guard. Emmanuel Stephen, perfect Christian Coloco type development. That would be Tommy Lloyd giving the Jedd Fisch clapback type to George Rushing right there if he got Zoom Diallo as well.
I'm literally typing this in because here at 24/7, Mike, we're able to type that in. Arizona's class would be 68.15. Arizona would move to the number 1 class in the nation.
All right. So again, Tommy Lloyd gets him. And again, a lot of people, including myself, were not thrilled about the early recruiting by Tommy Lloyd. But you know what? Tommy Lloyd is definitely striking back right here. And it's been pretty impressive, to be honest with you. It feels like now that he's going to be able to get the players that he needs. 5-of-a-kind media. Zoom is supposed to show up this weekend, my friend. Go ahead, Skier.
Yeah, it's almost like Tommy Lloyd knew what he was doing, despite Wildcat Authority criticizing what he was doing. I agreed with the early skepticism, but it's pretty obvious. And it does, I will say this, it does feel, I'd have to count and all that, but it does feel like they're offering a couple more players per cycle. Not a lot, not going crazy, but they're offering a couple more guys. But for him to land a class that would include Zoom Diallo, Carter, Jamari, whatever international guys, I'm sure the number 1 class in the nation would shut a lot of people up.
Don't you think we had something to do with this, though?
I'd like to think we did. I've asked someone near Arizona when they offered, I don't remember who it was, Braden Burries, and I was like, "You're welcome," and they yelled at me. So
hey, I was on Braden Burries before you, 5-star guard out of California. This is true, Sheer.
I like to evaluate players. You don't evaluate at all.
No, I did evaluate. I watched some highlights and I said, "This is a kid you offer."
Like I like to watch guys play. There's been players you like. You just look at their body type, or if they're from Tucson, you like them. The end.
Oh, stop. Cody Williams says hello right there. Oh, Tony Jones, our guy, one of the parents, part of the Back the A movement, Tony Jones. We're going to talk about AJ Jones here in a little bit. By the way, off the field, or joking aside, I tweeted this out. Doesn't Arizona, especially in that 22 class, have the coolest group of football parents walking the face of the earth? Everybody's cool. Kevin Green's cool. Tony Jones is cool. Les Fifita's awesome. Kangaika. I can keep going on and on down the list. There are a lot of really cool people in there, and Tony Jones, you are one of them, my friend.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's very rare that you get, like, usually when I hear from parents, it's bad stuff behind the scenes and all that. I haven't heard it. It's been really fun.
And on top of that, Big Russell Davis, one of my favorite people right there. A man of few words, but carries those words very strongly right there. Russell Davis, we are a big fan right there. But again, very cool stuff. Now, Zoom Diallo, though, let's look at him at the point guard spot. Everybody's been talking about Kylan Boswell going off to the NBA. I think Kylan Boswell can play in the NBA. I don't think that he's ever going to be somebody that the NBA folks are going to be knocking down the door to be able to get. But if you have Zoom Diallo, Jaden Bradley, and Kylan Boswell, that's a real logjam at that point guard position.
Yeah, you deal with it, though. And clearly, Tommy has – I mean, Zoom could play on the ball and off the ball. Jaden Bradley, these guys could play on the ball, off the ball. You always laughed when Sean used to talk about the 2-point guard system because it never really happened. When Tommy talks about it, it's going to happen. Like, there's confidence that Arizona can absolutely run a 2-point guard system with success.
Do you think if Zoom Diallo's in Tucson that they're going to take him to Circle K?
I would assume that's the first stop, right?
All right. Yes. Because here's the thing. If you're Zoom Diallo, you want to join the Inner Circle right there. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. And on top of that, oh, geez. Now, you might say, all right, depending on where I go in town, sometimes I get a little bit of a headache. OG's is here for you, my friend. OG's has you covered. Check out our friends at OG's Brands for yourself and try one or a few of their many delicious flavors. Check them out across all socials at OG's Brands and online at ogsbrands.com to find them at a local dispensary near you. Must be 21 years or up to enjoy responsibly. Okay, now let's hop in here. Brad Rich again, the man with 2 first names. Oh, we are very pooch friendly. You have been remiss in bringing your dogs on the show lately.
Well, I mean, he just made an appearance. He feels good today.
All right. I was going to say, some dog, Ted Wardo is very camera shy. Ted Wardo does not like coming on unless he has his cheese bone with him. If he has his cheese bone, then he's good. All right. Brad Rich says, I can't remember who it was. It was Lev or Spears, but they essentially said if Kylan went to the league, then that meant he had a fantastic season. We would all be thrilled. Yeah. I think with some players, though, they're also, I don't know that I necessarily agree with that or disagree with it, but I think some players, they're just ready to bounce.
That used to be the case, but how many bad players do we see declare for the NBA draft? And I'm not saying Kylan's bad, but you no longer have to be ready to play in the NBA to declare for the NBA draft. That's not a criteria anymore.
But do you think that but that's generally with players, though, too, where you have a sense of upside that maybe you don't otherwise have, like Dalen Terry or Dallin Terry, as some might call him. Dalen Terry, though, at 6'8", you could tell that he had a world of potential. When you look at Kylan Boswell, he's kind of built like a fullback. I don't know that he has a lot of untapped potential.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind, like, I don't want people to think we're insulting Boswell. Like, there's nothing wrong to be a really good college player, which is what Boswell's on track to be. It's just, like you said, a lot of times if a guy's not ready to play in the NBA, you say, okay, yeah, but he's 6'7" and jumps out of the gym, right? Or, oh, yeah, but he's the best defender in the draft or usually they're super athletes. Boswell's not a super athlete. He's just not. Right. He's not built that way. That's not his game. He's almost got an old man game a little bit. But, I mean, to me, leaving early, unless he has a crazy season, leaving early just feels like a mistake.
Right. But, we will take Zoom Diallo we'll take Zoom Diallo every single day of the week, though, right there. We're going to preview the exhibition a little bit more coming up tomorrow right here. Now, let's get to some Arizona football right here. It's been so long since we go from Arizona basketball to Arizona football, and the numbers don't go down, the numbers go up. Sheer, Jedd Fisch is the man. When he left the presser yesterday, he said that all the coaches would be out recruiting because, believe it or not, this coaching staff recruits very hard. And he said, I'll probably be at a game here in town, i.e. Sal Point, and then he winked at everybody. This dude is awesome. He gets it. I love when coaches fire back. It's nonsense. Jedd Fisch is a beast.
Yeah, I mean, he was always going to go to this game because they're playing Mountain Point, which is loaded with 2025 guys and 26. They've offered a handful of guys on that team, and it's funny that he's still going to that game. He's going to be on the South Point sideline, I would assume. They're still recruiting Will Height, and he's going to be right there. And I like the fact that he's not scared off, and he's not going to say, oh, Elijah Rushing decommitted, screw South Point or whatever. I'm changing my plans. He's doing the opposite, and honestly, it's probably embarrassing for a few people on that sideline, not the coaching staff, but
right.
other.
And honestly, that's what I like about Fisch. Fisch came in, and everything that he said has turned out to be true. He's put together a good product on the field. Very good question here, Five of a Kind Media. We will get to next. But he's put together a very, very a very good product. And I'm sorry if some parent goes around and starts spreading rumors or talking with other parents or whatever and just puts a bunch of nonsense out there. Jedd Fisch can look at his track record now, look at his resume and what he's built, and he can say that, yeah, I'm going to walk right in there. I also believe this, and you and I were talking about this. I believe that George Rushing thought when he put that tweet out that the city would turn on Jedd, and when in actuality, the city turned on him. That, to me, was miscalculation right there. This city backs Jedd Fisch to the fullest because he backs the A.
Yeah, the city backs the A, right? That's just what it comes down to. You're not a recruit. There is no recruit on the face of this planet that it can turn the Arizona fan base against Arizona football. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And no offense to Elijah Rushing, he's not that guy either. As good as he is, it's just not going to happen, especially now. Like, Arizona just won a football game. Whatever, what was it, 43-6 or whatever? I don't even remember this. 44-6.
Yeah, don't slide a point.
I mean, you're going to turn over a recruit when Arizona just went on the road and beat a ranked team by 5 touchdowns. And it's just it was a gross miscalculation, and that's just where we're at. Like, I think it's funny. I would have gone to the South Point game too, but we have basketball on Friday night, Mike.
Yeah, we got basketball on Friday night, but I would really like to be at that one, though. I will get photos, though, from Jedd Fisch right there. All right, let's talk about the development of the D-line, and then we're going to get to the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. That's for you, Tony Jones. But first, Five of a Kind Media. If we beat Oregon State, do we get one vote in the top 25? I go a step further. I think Arizona's got to be in the top 25 if we beat Oregon State.
I actually think Arizona's ranked if it wins against Oregon State. I really do. And if not, it'll be like 26th.
Because you have to look at it and say, all right, you barely lost to Washington, which is obviously a great team. You maybe laid out the blueprint there to be able to beat USC with Caleb Williams. You crush Washington State on the road. You beat Oregon State, which is a good team at home. I think you got to be ranked.
Yeah, I mean, your losses are all on the road. Your biggest win is on the road, though. And then you beat Oregon State, who's another ranked, really good team who's only lost one game. Yeah, you're ranked at that point.
What I've had a couple people ask me, they're like, hey, if Elijah Rushing wanted to transfer after a year, could he come back here? I don't see that ever happening right there. That he burned all those bridges. So I do not see that one happening. Defensive line, though. Looking at this defensive line, Anthony Humbert, Zoom Diallo is visiting, and it looks like Arizona's got some momentum right there. Come on, Anthony, get in here on time. If you're going to be the Henry Vasar fan club supporter, you got to be in here on time at least. But Sheer, with this defensive line, we've talked about running backs, we talked about wide receivers. I think you could start to make a case this is one of the better defensive lines in the conference as well, which is wild to say. From sacks to big dudes up the middle, Big Bill Norton. This is a loaded defensive line, and it's weird. It's just wild to say that.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is too, like, it's deep, right? Like, it's not just a bunch of random guys, that are not. I don't want to say random guys, like 2 or 3 guys that make an impact, and there's a huge drop off. Like, Arizona could come up with multiple starting combinations, right? And I'm actually trying to look up. Taylor Upshaw has to be among the leaders in sacks in the conference. I'm trying to find that out.
He's at 5.5 sacks. There's a very good chance that he could finish the year with 10 sacks. The last double-digit sack guy was Scooby Wright.
Right. So I mean, look, like, Arizona doesn't have that superstar, right? It doesn't have that Tuipulotu on USC. It doesn't have that Latu on UCLA, right? But it's got guys that, like Bill Norton does his job. It's not going to show up in the stat line, but he's really good at what he does. Taylor Upshaw is good at what he does. And so the depth, I think, overall, we talked about this yesterday, the fact that you could play 30 snaps and then another guy 30 snaps and you can't tell the difference between the two is a very big deal.
Brad Rich, the great Brad Rich. Big Bill Norton knocking the ball out on Saturday. I found myself correcting the commentator when he forgot to say Big Bill Norton. Big Bill Norton is a thing. That needs to be trademarked right there. It's simple, but it fits him very well, Sheer.
Yes. And I used it. I'm using it a little bit more. Upshaw's 5th in the conference in sacks.
I think Upshaw. Oh, and we also got to give a big shout out to I thought our guy Russell Davis. Russell Davis Sr. said some very cool things about being incredibly happy. Hop on in here. Russell Davis Sr. said some very cool things about, being happy with the football, the development of his son and whatnot. There's a lot of happy parents on this squad though as well, especially from that 2022 class, Jason Shearer.
Well, I think they see the long term, like if you're good enough to play, you're gonna play. Like Jacob Manu was good enough to play, he's playing as much as possible, right? And even though he wasn't the highest rated guy coming out of high school, this is perfectly set up for a guy like Russell Davis to start next year. Upshaw is better. It was smart to get Upshaw because Russell Davis wasn't ready yet. You assume he'll be ready next year, and then he steps in to start. And I think we're going to see that at a few positions next season.
Yeah. Now, looking especially too on that defensive line, that's where it also becomes interesting going forward. When you look at Manoa, when you look at Kongaika, when you look at Big Bill Norton, who possibly has another year as well, that could, in a weird way, and we're going to talk about the secondary here in a second. That could be one of the strengths of the team, though. Sheer next year's defensive line, again, you lose Taylor Upshaw, but you replace him with Deuce Davis, who I think is going to be very good. You got Isaiah Ward right there as well. I still think there's a real chance you get Keona Wilhite back. That's going to be a defensive line that is going to be problems for everybody.
Dude, Arizona's defense could return literally every single player that plays legit snaps, except for Upshaw. I think CO, who plays like 20, Tia Savea would be, Manoa. There's guys that would be back. And then the guys that Arizona's losing, like I love Upshaw, you can recover from that. This isn't going to be a completely rebuilt defense next season. It's pretty crazy to see really the entire roster, the youth and what Arizona's roster is going to look like next season.
All right, now, there's no better time to become a PHNX diehard. Go to PHNX right now. You get access to the Discord. You get merch. Maybe working on a Noah Fifita shirt. We'll see. All kinds of cool stuff right there. And Anthony Gimino's writing. Shearer's said it before. He actually likes Gimino, one of the few people that he actually likes. That is a testament to Anthony Gimino right there. Go to gophnx.com. Check it out. Become a diehard. All right, now, a couple things. I need to shoot back a little bit about the Big Ten. Just because the Big Ten vetted Arizona doesn't mean that Arizona was ever going to the Big Ten. I feel very comfortable in saying that the Big Ten pretty much shot down Arizona very, very quickly. I have a pretty good source on this one. The Big Ten did not view Arizona as being a good fit. What do you think, Jason Shearer?
Yeah, it's your job to look at schools, right? It's like in a coaching search, when you look at guys that you're probably not going to hire, you still vet them a little bit or look into it, and that's what this was. I don't think that was. We both have pretty good connections here, and I don't think that was ever a serious.
One thing I will say though, Sheer, one thing that I would rather, and I know there's more money, there's more prestige in the Big Ten. I'd rather be in the Big 12, though, from a competitive standpoint. I can't watch Big 10 basketball. It is absolutely an atrocious product. Big 10 football is drastically overrated. Everybody except Ohio State is essentially Wisconsin or Purdue. I would rather, just from a fan base competitive factor, I would 1,000% rather be in the Big 12. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, I said before, I have no desire to be in the Big 10. It's like when there's an argument on the board, like, would you want to be in the SEC? Absolutely not. Why would I want Arizona football in the SEC? What does that do on a weekly basis for Arizona football? Big 12 is a very winnable deal, right? In basketball, there's going to be more losses. I think Arizona fans have to prepare themselves for that. But you're in the tournament if you have a solid season, and the entertainment factor is insane. Football, Big 12, it's not very good this year. I get it. but the games are going to be entertaining, and Arizona is going to win football games. Like, it just, I don't want to see Arizona versus Iowa. Like, there's nothing appealing about Arizona versus Iowa in football.
Big Ten athletics, Big Ten revenue sports sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck, but it's drastically overrated. It brings me nothing. Like you said, I don't want to watch Iowa, Arizona, and football. It does nothing for me. Ohio State is different. And in basketball, it is an atrocious product. The Big 12, let's be honest here. We're talking football, but Arizona's a basketball school. Although Jedd Fisch might be changing that to a certain degree right there. But I don't want anything to do with the Big Ten from an athletic perspective. I get the $70 million, but now I'm happy. Plus Brett Yormark, leader of men. Can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, I'm happy. Like, it's the Big Ten West in football is like the most boring conference ever, right?
Yeah.
The only way the Big 12 would be better if we brought back Nebraska.
Yes. No, that would be, then it becomes far more interesting. All right. Now, Cats versus Rutgers. Gross. Yuck. No thanks. All right. As far as the game goes, it's being streamed. Arizona all of a sudden found the capability to stream the game right there. I see you right there. So it'll be streaming. Check out the Arizona website. It'll be on there. We're going to have a post-game show. As far as Gonzaga goes, I can speak to this slightly. Again, not great on this one, but there's a very legitimate chance that Gonzaga does join the Big 12 in the next 2 years in some capacity, and obviously in a basketball-only realm. It's going to need to be cleared with all the schools and whatnot, but I think there is a very legitimate possibility because Brett Yormark would like to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, Yormark's baby was UConn, but that's just not realistic for a few reasons. Gonzaga makes sense, right? I mean, Yormark clearly values basketball more than any other commission in the country, and there's value there. You just got to kind of, it's not as easy as people think to figure out the money in all this.
Right. Now, let's talk about you. Actually, you've had an interaction with Brett Yormark in recent weeks.
Yeah, there is a moment where I held the door open for him, and I didn't realize it was him until he walked by me. And the SID started laughing, and then I did a double take, and I was like, "Oh, that's Brett Yormark."
Was Mike Lowry grossed out by it?
He actually tried to slam the door in Yormark's face, but I wouldn't let him.
Mike Lowry, a very good dude right here. Mike Lowry messaged me immediately. You have what is Mike Lowry's official title?
Tech guy.
Tech guy. All right. Big up in the video department. Good dude. But he messages me and he said, Jason Scheer just held the door open for your guy, Brett Yormark. And then instead of me saying, whoa, I said, yeah, he already called me about it, dude. He called me like 3 times right there. Also, I believe the streaming is free to answer everybody out there. All right, now let's get to some Arizona. Let's get to some Arizona football. Noah Fifita, the receiver units right here, and Dwayne Akina, who has demanded an apology from Jason Scheer. But first, BetMGM. Scheer and I are generally dumb, but we told you before. We told you last year that Arizona would hammer the over 2.5. Arizona got 5. We told you this year, take the over 5. Arizona's going to get over 5. You could be a rich person right now if you listen to us. So sign up for BetMGM, use bonus code PHNX, place your first BetMGM sportsbook wager through the BetMGM sportsbook mobile app of at least $10. You will receive $200 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. Check out show notes for details. Let's hear from the great Shane Diefenbach with the disclaimer.
Problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
All right, now. We'll get to the offense here in a second. We want to stick with the defense. When Dwayne Akina was hired, Scheer was skeptical. I said, this guy is revolutionary. Jason Scheer has taken a step back. Dwayne Akina was exactly what this defense needed and what Johnny Nansen needed, I think, to reach that next level there, Jason Scheer.
Yeah. I mean, he's been really, I think the thing with him is he's not, like, a lot of times a guy like him would come in and be like, this is going to be done my way. I have more experience and all that. He hasn't done that. And credit to Danson too. I mean, Danson's had an open mind and said, look, you're really good at what you do. You know a lot of football. Let's sit down. Let's work together. And it's worked very, very well so far.
Those are easily the two most unreplaceable guys on the entire defense. We agree.
Who?
Johnny Nansen and Dwayne Akina, even though Dwayne Akina is not a head coach. Okay.
Yes.
We got to talk about the secondary, though. Tacario Davis had an incredible game against Washington State. Obviously, we've talked a ton about Ephesians Pricesock. These two dudes next year are going to be problems, and it would not surprise me at all if these are NFL players after their junior years. I mean, Pricesock, I would be surprised if he's not in the NFL, but Davis is definitely trending in that direction there, Skier.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you look at them, and they're huge. Like, they're huge. They have long arms. And like we mentioned yesterday, like, you look at Tacario Davis, and your automatic assumption is he's a safety. That's just how he's built. And clearly he's a capable corner. These guys are built very unique when you take a look at the corners really throughout college football. And I'm not saying they're the best. I'm saying, they're built different than a lot of them. When they continue to get stronger and put on a little bit weight, like Pricesock has to get stronger and put on some weight, they're going to be really, really good.
Right. And then the safeties are actually, I wish we could get another year out of Dalton Johnson, to be honest with you, because he's been a very nice safety valve on the back end. We'll give Gunnar Maldonado has played much, much better. Got to give it there. The safeties are interesting. I think the one that you really hope can make that jump next year is Genesis Smith, because there's going to be playing time to be had at those safety positions.
Yeah. I mean, safety's another. And I'll say this: Arizona's gone out and landed quite a few safeties in secondary. They're going to land another one today. Oop, yep, there's your scoop. So I'm wondering if they plan on guys leaving or not. I don't think it'd be like Genesis Smith, but you look at others that maybe aren't playing, or maybe Gunnar and Dalton, move on or whatever. But I'm fine with it. Like, Genesis Smith continues to get more snaps as the season goes along. I don't see that changing. I think he's going to be significantly improved next season. And, that was one of the positions that was a concern. And it still may not be a strong point, but it's not the big weakness that we thought it was.
Over or under 10 NFL players on this roster currently?
Probably under. 10's a lot.
All right. I'm glad you said that, my friend. So let's walk this through a little bit right here. Let's go with the locks. T-Mac. We agree he will be in the NFL, correct?
Yes.
Jordan Morgan. We agree he will be in the NFL, correct?
Yep.
Jonas Savanea. We agree he will be in the NFL.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's get to the ones likely to be in the NFL. Jacob Cowing, likely to make an NFL roster in some way, correct?
Yeah. So you're not going drafted. You're just saying in the NFL.
Yeah, that'll play in the NFL.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, then no, honestly, there's probably 10 then.
All right. Yeah, because I was going to say I got about 12 or 13 that we could walk. Jonah Coleman, probably going to play in the NFL. Ephesians Pricesock, probably going to play in the NFL. A couple of these D linemen, probably going to play in the NFL. Tacario Davis, real chance at the NFL. Tanner McLaughlin, probably going to play in the NFL. There's a lot of dudes right here, Sheer. You didn't think about that.
I was thinking about drafted. I respect it. I could see 10 playing. Absolutely.
All right. Now, before we do that, though, let's also talk about, what do I got? Oh, game time. And then we're going to talk about Noah Fifita here, the elephant in the room, the small elephant, but the great elephant. Game time. All right. Here's the deal with game time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I know many, many people that have gotten into to a U of A game. Game Time last second, Metallica concerts, all kinds of good stuff. Check it out. Game Time, cool stuff. All right, Noah Fifita. I think the biggest part about why he works is that, again, and I said this yesterday, but I'm going to keep saying it again because I think it's a rare good point by me. Everybody eats with him. Just look at, we already know about T-Mac and Jacob Cowing. Kevin Green all of a sudden is now getting open like he wasn't before. I almost said Tony Jones. AJ Jones, Malachi Riley. These are all players that were not getting really any burn, and you started to see them come alive. Fifita finds the open player right there. If you get open, it's kind of the Tom Brady effect. You're probably going to get the ball.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, everyone eats, right? Like, there's not. And look, he may focus on T-Mac a little bit, but T-Mac's so good, I don't really care. Like, you could force a couple of passes to T-Mac, whatever. But you spread the ball around, and like you said, like, there's guys emerging that maybe weren't emerging before. And now when you're scouting Arizona, that third receiver spot, which was nothing, I like Jedd Fisch's strategy of, we're going to get Montana. We're going to force the issue a little bit to make at least Washington State respect our third receiver. And Jonah Coleman is a third receiver, and Tanner McLaughlin is a third receiver. And all of a sudden, that if Jonah Coleman runs a route and is open, Noah's going to get him the ball, as opposed to throwing the ball 50 yards downfield and trying to make the big play every down.
All right. Now, one thing I disagree with you on, you think that JDL will be at Hawaii next year, Sheer. I don't see any way that he's Hawaii. I see him being somewhere, but not at Hawaii. I think that's the one school he won't be at.
No, I think it'd be funny, though. You're probably right. He can't go back there. We were going over schools. Fresno State, I thought, was a good one. UNLV. Place like that. Boise State is fine. A place like that.
How about Washington State?
That would be a good spot, too. Cam Ward, clearly not very good.
I mean, I think we pretty much exposed Cam Ward. Arizona defense breaks quarterbacks at this point right now. Caleb Williams, likely to never be the same after that game. Cam Ward, we'll be curious if he is on the ash heap of history after this game, Jason.
Will you revisit my argument? I feel a little bit better. I said that I don't think there is a difference between Cam Ward and JDL. And I got attacked from all sides. Look at Cam Ward the last 2 weeks. Nothing.
Look at JDL all season, though.
He's hurt. He's hurt, though.
Yeah, well, he wasn't hurt when he wasn't playing.
He's hurt. He's got a hurt ankle.
You want to say right now that you think JDL is better than Cam Ward?
I don't think there's a big difference between the two, is what I said. There isn't. Cam Ward's not that good.
I didn't say it, but JDL was pretty bad this year. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Cam Ward's had 2 bad games. JDL is pretty bad this year. Let's be honest. Come on.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. Come on. All right. Everybody out. Hey, Sheer, what are you doing tomorrow?
I'm not going on the show.
Why not?
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, we'll find out. Sheer might be back tomorrow. We'll find out right here. We're not going to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But first, Sheer, before we sign off, where can they find you causing all your problems?
WildcatAuthority.com, Wildcat Scoop Podcast with Shelby, and at Jason Sheer on Twitter.
All right. That's Jason Sheer. Let's bring the backbone, Jacob Franklin. Come on in here real quick, Jacob Franklin. Come on, Jacob Franklin. We call him the backbone. Oh, he's not going to come on. I get it. Whatever. All right. I'm Mike Luke, though. We really appreciate Jacob Franklin coming on here. By the way, Brad Rich right here. Brad Rich, a very smart man, right? Sheer doesn't know it yet, but he's coming on tomorrow. This is correct. All right. On that note, though, as always, appreciate you all listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. Sheer with some help by the Sheer family dogs. Jacob Franklin, the backbone behind the scenes. I am merely Mike Luke. You have been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.